It is called attribute agreement analysis that you will be learning in the black belt level. So there are different types of tools exist. You need to use it. Right now we understood gauge R&R, but in both case gauge R&R as well as attribute agreement analysis, the error should be less than 10%. Then your measurement system is acceptable. The data collected is credible, worthy for analysis. If it is more than 10%, generally unacceptable. But if you are very sure, you are already running a good process, already your control limits are well inside, and you are very sure the difference between the target and the baseline is really huge enough, which can tolerate 30% error, you can still go for it. That is called conditionally acceptable. Am I right? All of you understand the meaning of conditionally acceptable? You can't validate improvement, a very small improvement, having a measurement error of 30%. That is a very, very challenging job. And you may go wrong also. So if the gap in performance is huge, even an equipment giving you 30% error may sometimes can be of help to prove the improvement. Ultimately, you wanted to prove, that is why you are collecting data, right? So that is the meaning of conditionally acceptable. In a manufacturing context, the control limit should be well inside specification limit to opt for the second condition. But in a general context, the targeted improvement or the gap in performance should be really large compared to the 30% error. If the 30% error is larger than the gap in performance, it is better avoid collecting the data. Improve the measurement system, then only you must collect the data. That is the goal of step number 5. Then what is step number 6? Step number 6.
Measure baseline performance and target gap.
Fantastic. Measure the baseline performance and understand the gap in performance. So what is baseline performance? Your Y, you are worried about Y. Try to measure the Y in terms of the sigma level. For that, you must understand what is sigma level. It has been taught to you. My Y is the megapixel level of the camera. What is the sigma level as far as the megapixel level of my camera is concerned in my product? You can calculate. You can also calculate the rejection level of your devices, particularly due to the camera feature. How many mobile phones are getting rejected? Because the camera is not passing through the test. It is 5%, it is 10%. That's called the rejection rate. Isn't it? The defect percentage. Why defects are happening? Sigma levels are low. Whether you measure sigma level or you measure defect percentage, it is one and same. Higher sigma level means no defect. Lower sigma level means everything you produce is a defect. So we need to understand. And so defect percentage you can measure. We call it DPMO. You can also measure it in the form of DPMO. You did a beautiful experiment yesterday, GEMS experiment. Defects per million opportunity. You can also use PPM in the same place. What is PPM? Parts per million. If you are trying to control the defect, DPMO is a good measure. If you are trying to control the defective, PPM is a good measure. Isn't it? You understood, you discussed yesterday about the difference between a defect and a defective. What is a defect? I conduct an exam, it contains 50 questions. You answered 2 questions wrongly. You answered 2 questions wrongly. So how many questions you answered correctly? 48. So what is your score? 96. Now you are issued a certificate. You are issued a certificate. You are qualified to receive the certificate called green belt. You are a green belt, but still there are certain defects in it. Am I right? The defect is there because you answered 2 questions wrongly. That is nothing but there are 2 defects in our product. Am I correct or not? You understand everything. You answered all the questions and then certificate is issued 100 out of 100, a product without defect. But you answer so many questions wrongly that your mark is less than 60. Now what happened? We are not going to issue the certificate because the minimum requirement is 60. Now what happened? The candidate who wrote the exam has become a defective item. I can't send it to the market. Am I right? I can't send it to the market and rework is not possible. Nothing is possible. I have to scrap it. That is defective. You need to understand what do you want to achieve. You want to control the defect or you want to control the defective. If you are responsible for the defective, you may measure PPM. If you are responsible for the defect because you are taking care of only part of the process, you are not responsible for the whole, the final product. Then people might measure your performance based on the number of defects that are coming out from your process. Then you will be trying to control the defects. Am I correct? In that case, better you try monitor and control the DPMO. If you are responsible for the whole product, then you will keep an eye on the PPM. Now, do you understand difference between DPMO and the PPM? Parts per million. Parts per million is different. Defects per million opportunity is different. And so you also understand the difference between defect and defective. And then you can either go for these things or you can go for the normal traditional yield. But traditional yield has got a lot of limitation. Traditional yield has got a lot of limitation. For example, all of you joined the program and all of you are going to get the certificate. All of you are going to get the certificate. So what is our success rate? Come on.
100%. 100%.
This is what everybody says when you inquire about the quality of the program. Our success rate is 100%. Do you think all of them are really 100%?
No.
Definitely no. Am I correct?
Correct.
They measure it wrongly and give you a false information to you. Then how to measure correctly? You must measure how many people are passing in the first run. First run? No failure. Straight away, they undergo the training, they participate very effectively, they understand everything, and the first attempt, they clear the exam.
First time right only we need to consider.
First time right only we need to consider. But actually what happens, some people may underperform, still they may be awarded mark, still they may be issued a certificate. That is called a traditional yield. Traditional yield is useless, isn't it? Traditional yield is useless. It will not bring the problem to the surface. You must aim for first time right. That means, see, in traditional yield, if somebody fails, we allow them to appear again. We allow them to appear again. If you allow them to appear again, what is it called? Rework. Am I correct?
Correct.
It's called rework. If you do rework, do you think additional resources will be consumed?
Yes, sir.
And so a defective item or an item with a defect is now converted again into a good one and it is passed on to the mainstream. We have prevented a defect becoming a defective. Though it's a good thing, but still it consumes additional resources and that's how people claim 100% success rate. Some people are not even bothered about a defect going into the market. They just send everything. If I send everything to the market, then my success rate is 100%. My rejection is 0. Believe the traditional yield. When you calculate the yield, rework should be reduced. The amount of rework carried out should be deducted. The amount of rejection happened should be deducted. The balance is called first time yield. Are you with me on this? Rejection percentage 5%. Rework percentage 20%. Now tell me how much is the yield? How much? Come on.
75, sir.
75%. This 75% is called first time yield or first pass yield. But how people measure? They reduce only the rejection. What is rejection? 5%. If you ask them how much is their yield, what do you think they will say? They will say 95%. Are they really 95%? They are only 75%. But how do they project? They project as 95%. And looks like things are going in an excellent manner, but actually not. There were a lot of rework going on. This is what Vinod was saying yesterday. A hidden factory. Nobody knows where the rework is carried out. Rework is never in the plan. But lot of rework happens. Consuming additional resources, consuming, additional material, consuming everyone's time. And then there will be, overtime charges. There are many, many consequences. Which is a better metric? First pass yield. Or first pass yield is the better metric than the traditional yield. So either you calculate yield, or calculate DPMO, or you calculate PPM, or you calculate sigma level, or you calculate CPK. It's all one and same. Depending on the industry, you can use that jargon. If you are in a manufacturing industry where they talk about CPK, you also talk to them with respect to CPK. If somebody talks about sigma level, you talk to them in terms of sigma level. If you talks in terms of the yield, then you talk to them in terms of yield. If the customer talks in terms of PPM, you talk to them in terms of PPM. Ultimately, all of them are telling your capability. All of them are telling your capability. Your capability means the capability of the process for which you are responsible. You keep on increasing the capability. Don't allow the capability to go down any moment. You will be able to do that. You will be able to sustain your capability only if your processes are stable. So afternoon, we will be touching the stability part, the control chart. So now you understood the real capability of your process. This is called baseline performance. Now you realized that the yield in your process is 75%. But what you thought earlier? 95%. And you thought rejections are 5% and you wanted to reduce the rejection from 5% to 2%. That was your project goal. But now what is your understanding? Now your understanding is the yield is 75%. So the rejection is how much? 25%. Now what can be done? Can you bring down 25% to 10%? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Definitely yes. So targeting an improvement of 3% was your plan, but now targeting an improvement of 15% is your plan. Framing the project charter, your business case was saving 15 lakhs annually for the company. But now you realized that the gap in performance which you are going to address is 5 times more than what you planned in the defined phase. Do you understand? So the business case will also get multiplied by 5 times. The savings are not going to be 15 lakhs. The savings are going to be 75 lakhs annually. How do you get all this maturity? By using the right tools and right techniques, by going through all the steps very diligently, isn't it? So we need to be very, very careful and with everything we are doing. And so you only can realize the project benefit is not 15 lakhs per annum. It is actually 75 lakhs per annum. Now the project charter, entire charter might get redrafted. It will be re-approved. That is why you have been taught that project charter is a living document. I don't know how many of you noted this. The problem was thoroughly understood now, only after collection of data. Am I correct? So far, everything was assumption. You simply believed everyone's opinion. As a Six Sigma Green Belt, you should not simply react on the opinion. You must react only to the facts. How do you understand whether it is an opinion or a fact? Only if you have the correct data in your hand. Am I correct? That is why data collection is important. You have been taught all those things. Now the measure phase is over. And you know what is the deliverable? Step number 6 is the main deliverable. What is step number 6? Performance. Main deliverable from the defined phase is correct baseline performance. Baseline performance, right? The baseline performance is measured. That's the main deliverable. That is why you have gone through 3 steps in the measure phase. If you don't know what is your baseline, you should not proceed to the analyze phase. If the baseline performance is measured correctly and project charter is updated, the problem becomes more and more focused now with after the collection. You see, you can see when people are doing research or doing something, they keep on changing the title. Why? Because as they progress, they better understand the problem, and then title is slightly improved. Same way that should happen in your real-time project also. You can't begin and then carry on the same thing till the end. It is not possible. Because your understanding, goes deeper and deeper, and then a problem becomes a focused problem. So all these things happens in define and measure. Now you are really, in a good position to move on to the analyze phase.
One question.
Yes.
So now, like you told, that we may grow up in the phase and learn more things, and the project charter would change.
Yes.
So would that not involve a lot of rework or something? Like, I know project charter is a living document now,
Yeah.
because everything would every past 2 or 3 steps would get into a rework, like the measure phase, like define, analyze, measure, right? So these
Define,
also would,
measure, analyze.
yeah. So at the analyze phase, at the measure phase, we got the baseline. Or that there we realize that this is not a standing, right? So the three steps would go a rework,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So how do we address this? Like, out of your experience, I'm asking you,
Yeah.
how do we address this as an expert and as a person who has spent years in industry?
Yes.
So
For that, very good question, fantastic question. For that, your company deserves presence of a master black belt. You understand? Your company deserves the presence of at least one master black belt and at least few black belts. You know what they will do?
Mhm.
You know what is the job of a master black belt? He train the project team. His job is to train people and convert them into green belts and black belts. Now I come to your question. Why people are not delivering results in the first run, creating a lot of rework? They do not know. Am I correct?
Right.
You can't expect people to produce result without properly equipping them. Whose mistake it is? Is it the people's mistake?
No. The
It is
process.
management mistake.
So that can be taken up as a separate project. Training your people, skilling your people can also be a Six Sigma project. What is the current level of skill they have? What is the level of skill expected? And the gap in the skill level can be addressed as a Six Sigma project. Do you get my point?
Okay.
But not all normal people cannot think and then understand your question. Definitely people matured enough, maybe at the middle level managers and top level managers, they can understand that. People have to be equipped. See, what is, one of the main pillar of operational excellence is a high performing team. Can you run a company with a team which is poorly performing?
No.
You have to equip your people also equally. When you do more on process, when you do more on other pillars, you have to equip your people also parallelly. Otherwise, at some point of time, you will lose the race. Your competitors will outperform you. So your point is correct. But till then, your organization realizes that people have to be equipped. See, updating the knowledge, people are telling, as the technology upgrades, people should also upgrade. But on the other side, this problem solving also, there are several levels. And what you can see at the higher level is this Six Sigma methodology. At some point of time, only organization will realize the necessity of equipping the people on problem solving methodology, equipping the people on root cause analysis. People simply call certain tool as a root cause analysis and then work on the symptoms. That is not root cause analysis. For example, your fishbone analysis is called a root cause analysis. Your YY analysis is called a root cause analysis. But do you think the YY analysis and fishbone analysis can always attack the root of the problem?
No.
That's a tool that only take you one step ahead. That's all. And people get completely convinced by using the YY analysis and cause and effect analysis also. There is further steps You need to dive deeper. And that is what the job of today. I'm going to take you through what is next to the cause and effect analysis. So that we definitely see to that we address the problem at the root. We see to that the root cause is fixed. When I see to that the root cause is fixed, do you think the same problem will come again?
No.
No. That is the benefit of Six Sigma methodology. That is why I always say you don't have to use Six Sigma methodology for solving every problem. Only certain problem deserve Six Sigma methodology, not all problem. All those problems you handle with other approaches, can be Kaizen, can be you call it any name and then get it solved. But certain problem definitely deserve Six Sigma methodology. You can't solve it without Six Sigma methodology or without performing the steps we are learning. You miss one step, then there will be a big damage. Hope I have answered your question, Pradeep.
Yes, sir.
Right.
So one more question. I don't know if you are aware of it or not. In the projects, like in the company and all, or in the independent projects, we are told like solve this problem using 2 Six Sigma tools or minimum 2 or 3 Six Sigma tools. It happens. One thing is that one part of question. The other thing is now, as you told, not all tools can be used or not entire Six Sigma approach can be used. However, some tools can be used, right?
Yes.
In solving some problems where where there are like 5-why analysis or something, which are
Yes.
like without getting into much of statistical numerical things, this 5-why fishbone can be still used, right?
Yes.
Not in a Six Sigma project, but in an overall basis, like can be. Okay. The other part is this minimum 2 tools or 3 tools. What is this about? I wanted to know about that. Or are you aware of that? What is
Six Sigma doesn't have, there are no tools called as Six Sigma tools. Because the tools, whatever you are using, we are studying here in this course, were created before Six Sigma methodology was created. 1986, 87, Motorola introduced the Six Sigma methodology. But all these tools were used, majority of the tools were used even before 1986. For example, control chart was introduced in 1920 by Walter Shepard. When he was working in Bell's laboratories, he was a statistician. He realized, the statistics can be used in real-time business and we can make the business predictable. Make the business predictable, then you can control and then you can sustain your results. Sustainability is very important. Everywhere you can see big conferences happening with the word sustain. Sustainable technology. What do you mean by sustainable technology, right? So every tool, many tools were created even before Six Sigma methodology was created. Six Sigma only makes use of the tool. Six Sigma guides you how to use a particular tool. Six Sigma guides you on tool selection. Otherwise, what happens? See, some step-by-step approach, phase-by-phase approach helps people go in a specific order. And thereby they don't, they don't commit any mistake while executing a project, because executing a project in a real-time environment is not that easy. Hope all of you understand this, isn't it? You have been already on several tasks. Project is one of the tasks. Am I correct?
Yes.
Hardly spend 1 hour, 2 hours a day on your project, and you can easily go wrong. So these steps, these tools just guides you. That's all. So make use of any tool. For example, the project charter is a tool of project management. Am I correct? How many of you know that? You can't say, no, this tool is only Six Sigma tool. No. Project is a part of a project management. You are using it. So use everything, whether it is a quality control tool, it's a problem solving tool, decision making tool, or it's a management tool, like affinity diagram is a management tool. Your creating an organization structure is also a tool. Everything is a tool, right? So no need to be concerned about we need to use only a specific tool in the project. No, use any tool which can actually help you serve the purpose. Yes, sir.
Can I come?
No, please.
Can I come?
Yes, sir. Answer.
Mr. Pradeep.
Yes, sir.
See, what you wanted is a straight answer, right?
No, I don't want it.
Sigma tells tools. When somebody tells me what is the tool I should use, when they ask me to use Six Sigma tools. Six Sigma methodology is what we are teaching you. There are 5 phases. In each phase, we have been teaching you some tools and techniques. And each phase, the tool names I will give you on Tuesday, right? You already know, right? If I ask you, that is a question that I am supposed to ask you today morning. But I don't know, you are asking the same question now to me, to us. Now, define phase, there are some tools are used. You know what are the tools? Yes or no?
Yes.
Brainstorming, nominal group technique, Pareto chart, cause and effect diagram, surveys, right? These are all the Six Sigma tools which you have used in Six Sigma methodology. Similarly, in measurement system and project charter, right? In measurement system, measurement phase, you have used some tools. Yes or no? Gauge
Right.
R&R, right? AAA, attribute decrement analysis. All these things are there. So many tools are there. I will give a list of tools that we are using in Six Sigma structured methodology. You can select anyone, then say that this is what we are using. This is what is used in the Six Sigma methodology in this phase, right? I think that should answer your question to your superiors, right?
That's right. I asked you on a real time in the real world what happens. So I just asked a few questions on the basis of that. Not that I had some doubts. Yeah. Since on the real world there are some so the situation would be different.
Please note,
You got
please
the answer,
note,
right,
you are right,
Pradeep?
you are right.
Yeah, I got
In
my
real
answer.
world, in
Yes,
real
yes, yes.
world,
Let us move on.
now
Let us
you
move
are,
on
once
quickly.
again, you are now applying a Six Sigma tool. Do you know what is that? Survey. You are asking us,
Yes.
right? You are giving a question to us, Shivakumar and me, whichever answer suits you, are taking it. So you are
That's
giving taking a tool that is called survey and go through that, analyze and take your own decision. Simple,
Okay.
right? So in life, in real life, every time we are using a tool and technique. Without tool and technique, you can't do anything. Understood? What is the
See, if you
important tool that we
become
are
a
using? No
black
day in and
belt,
day. Brain. Brain is the tool we are using. The technique is analyzing in the brain, right? So please note, in real life, if you think that we are always using a tool and the tool will always come within the Six Sigma methodology, how you project it to your superior is very important. You can't just like that jokingly say that that is I'm using it and all. You'll have to say specific, because these are all technical people, no? I can just say that I like
one thing you
philosophy and
can,
all these things.
you
You
need
will have to
to,
remember, you'll have to move in a different way when your boss, with your boss, you'll have to move in a different way with your boss at home. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
one thing you can correlate more with Six Sigma is most of the tools are statistical in nature.
That's right.
Statistical tools, maybe your boss voice, maybe, he want you to use more statistics. Generally, people hate statistics, hate maths. So your boss may expect you to, deal with the maths and stats, some numbers and graphs. So try to convince him in that angle. All right. So everything is a tool, right? And then,
That's right.
and now we come to the analysis phase. Analysis. What are we supposed to do? We need to identify the root of the problem. We need to identify the culprit who actually did the crime. And identifying the culprit who did the crime is not sufficient enough to punish him. Am I right? That is how Indian judicial system works. Hopefully, every country will have the same logic. You identify the criminal, but still for punishing him, an evidence is required. Am I correct or not?
That's right.
Same way, identifying the root cause is not enough in any company. If you want to make changes in the process, that means you want to take an action. That means you wanted to punish the culprit. In order to punish him, you must have evidence in your hand. So the main aim of the analyze phase is not only identify the root cause, but also validate the root cause. Identify and validate the root cause. What is that? Your cause brainstorming, cause and effect diagram, why analysis, or any other tool is doing? It is helping you to identify the root cause. Am I right? It is helping you identify the root cause. Imagine a crime has happened and there is lot of people there. Let's say 50 people are there on the spot, and you as the police squad, you are one of the person in the police squad, and now you will suspect all the 50 people who are there on the spot. Am I right? That is what your brainstorming is doing. That is what your why analysis is doing. This is what your cause and effect analysis is doing. It cannot point you the culprit, but it can point everyone. Do you understand?
Right.
Police will now start suspecting everybody on the spot. But how to gather the information about those who are present on the spot? brainstorming, Y-way analysis, cause and effect analysis. So you get list of all possible possible factors. Possible factors may not be critical factors, isn't it? All possible factors may not be critical factors, but definitely one within the possible factors could have the culprit, isn't it?
Correct.
The culprit. So slowly you have to filter. The 50 people are there on the spot. You from the 50 you will pick up 10, and those 10 will be taken to the police station, and then out of the 10, 2 will be put in the lockup, right? And I mean in the jail, and then out of the 2, finally one is given the bigger punishment. The whole process is called analysis. This is what you need to do in Six Sigma project also. The tools like brainstorming, Y-way analysis, cause and effect analysis will help you to figure out or list out all 50 people who are there on the spot. Then Pareto will help you to narrow down the 50 to just 10. Those 10 people were taken to the police station. Pareto will tell you who are those 10. 10 or sometimes 5, sometimes 3. This 10 or 5 or 3 are now the potentially critical factor. Are now potentially critical. Out of the 3, 1 is the culprit. Or all 3 may be culprit. It's all possible. Sometimes crime is done by an individual, sometimes crime is done by a group. If it is the individual should be punished. If it is a group should be punished. So for all the 3 factors which are figured out through using a Pareto will now undergo a critical investigation. That critical investigation is called hypothesis testing. That is what I'm going to teach you now. Do you understand our sequence of progress in the Six Sigma approach? We are here.
Yes.
We are here now. And finally, we will make the judge write the judgment based on our investigation. And then that culprit, the criminal, will be punished. That will happen in the improve phase. Problem is solved. Right? Problem is solved, and the solution is dictated. That's all. So that we will talk in the improve phase. Now coming to the hypothesis testing. And in order to be slightly different, I don't want to use any slides. Priya madam, are you recording? Priya madam?
Yes, sir.
You recorded the 9:30 to 10:15, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I recorded.
It will be helpful. You can share with them, right?
Okay.
And now this session also, I am not to be different from what we have been